click the links to get the various other platforms: Gab, Odysee, Chute, Discord, and the other YouTube platforms. What do you do when the Asians get off the plantation? See if this will play. That puts people, and it's funny because I just did a video on the other channel about Aquafina, who's an actor slash rapper, who's she's put on this fake black accent to try to sell whatever, and now finally people are like calling her on it and saying, yeah, you're a scummy person who's just stepping on people to get ahead, which, you know, that's Hollywood. What did you expect? Did you expect ethical behavior in Hollywood? Okay, so becoming ungovernable. This wouldn't work if you're a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. The crowd would immediately turn against you because the media has brainwashed people to turn against the blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. So the only way this works is if you're Asian, black, Latino, something. You got to be something that's like you have that privilege to do this kind of stuff. So this guy gets into it and they explain it very well. He says, fueling id poll is identity politics, is a political strategy, tactic, divide and conquer, linear warfare. This is a city thing. Doesn't matter. Somebody's trolling. Again, somebody's trolling. And then, okay, divide and conquer against whom? Id poll, identity politics, divide the plebeians into racial, gender, and sexuality groups, etc. It becomes, it went from in the 70s, it went from class war, and then the globalists, Bolshevik, Marxists, Leninists, Mordecai Levyists turned it into race war. Critical theory became critical race theory, that Frankfurt School, and it's a bunch of, you know, usual suspects who are doing this. It's basically a part of their religion to be globalists, to destroy nations. It goes, divide them. Don't blame the ruling class for your problems. Blame the poor white guy that likes his MAGA hat. AOC isn't a powerful elitist tool. She's a victim of misogyny and racism. Though oddly enough, some people are starting to wake up to AOC. Like even people on the left are looking at AOC and the eat the rich thing or the tax the rich thing and looking at her like, bitch, what? How do you? Does nobody see the hypocrisy here? Some people on the left actually do, and they're starting to wake up to it. They're usually on the further left when even AOC isn't woke enough for them anymore. So it serves as a shield for the ruling class and the wealthy intelligentsia. If they are in an oppressed category, then they're victims, even if they're literal princesses. If they're white, male, straight, then they are allies and voices with platforms that must be supported. It sounds more to me that people crying identity politics are the ones shielding people and splitting them up. The ones crying identity politics are the ones shielding people and splitting them up. I know they're going back and forth. This guy went through his timeline. The guy, he's a leftist, but I don't think he's very articulate with what he's saying, because I interpreted it, I think, the opposite way from what he intended it to mean, where these globalist puppet masters who are pushing identity politics are raising shields against people, and they're the ones splitting it up. They go forward and they go back and forth with this argument for a long time. Okay, Chick says it's recruitment and those apps are pure evil. Remind me to include a link to this tweet's Twitter video. I posted the videos on my other my tablet account. Do you think that's how people become gay? They get recruited? That's not the issue. Well, I mean, that is an issue, but what she's saying is they're trying to push polyamory as a social norm for any young eyes. Do you understand how children develop? How many have you raised to adulthood? Yeah, a lot of these people giving you advice on raising kids turn out like, you're a single cat lady, you haven't raised any kids, or you're, too young, or whatever. The thing is, like, does tribal mixing, does all these things they're pushing, does it lead to a sustainable future for civilization? Well, the few historical examples people are familiar with is a hard no. So why are they... The way they do this is they raise shields by creating these istophobic words. Racism, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, transphobic, what's the gay one? The gay-phobic one, I forget the word. They raise all these words, and they're kind of nonsense words because they're raised for the purpose of propaganda, because they're already kind of terms in place. Terms develop naturally, not when some globalist professor decides to put something into the common nomenclature. They raise these as shields, and then behind those shields, they start committing these acts of atrocities. And when you call them out on it, they go, oh, hey, we're in this protected class. Like, well, that's not good. The thing is, you can always use their rules against them. You can always claim to be a marginalized and oppressed person, a disenfranchised person of color yourself, because how do you define those terms? If you identify as marginalized, oppressed, disenfranchised, then you are, right? I mean, how do you say, you're saying, you're denying me my lived experience. You're oppressing me by denying me my traumatic experience. It doesn't take long to learn how they speak, and you turn it around on them. It's like, it's sort of nonsense either way, because none of it is, they're not, how do you refute somebody's opinion? You know what I'm saying? Like, all these things are like, oh, I feel I'm a marginalized, oppressed, and the other person says, well, you're not. Well, it's like, why can turn around and say the same about you? It's like, now you want to start bringing in facts to say, oh, my oppression is higher than yours. It's like, well, it's all, like all trauma is personal. It's like, some people can go through war just fine and not get PTSD, like they're absolutely fine. And other people are very, like, they go through a weird childhood, and it's like it's with them for the rest of their lives. Things that, like, people in war-torn countries would look at, and a lot of people show up. It's just different. Everyone's brain is different. You're going to have a different experience. People can have PTSD from things their grandmother told them, and, you know, like, it can make them crazy. It's like you see examples of that right now. Where was I going with this? I don't know. This is basically, you see degeneracy, destroy degeneracy. I'm not, of course, not advocating any illegal activity. So I'm assuming this is legal in the state where they perform this. This probably wasn't America. It's probably, like I said, this doesn't happen in India, because they just don't allow this kind of stuff in India, though. They do a bunch of other bad acts, too. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all next episode. Oh, donate if you have the means, so I can get on Gab TV.